Page 12, what a wonderful world. 12/8 time again. And this has that rhythm they were talking about back on page 9 or whatever it was, where they used the caravan thing to count it out. I generally don't bother with that. I feel it. It's a dotted rhythm. You ought to be familiar with dotted rhythms by now. You know how they work. You got a short note in there. So it's like at the beginning here, and it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Just you feel it. 1 sharp, we're in the key of G major. Make sure you can do the scale. G major and E minor, 2 octaves up and down. Just get all that out of the way. You ought to be able to do these like when you first sit down and practice, first time of the day, you do those scales and arpeggios. Do the G major arpeggio and the E minor arpeggio, 2 octaves up and down if you can. And again, with the arpeggio, I'm looking for the tremolo exercise because that's going to do you a lot of good. But make sure you put in the accents and the wrist because that eventually will give you the control you need to play smoothly and evenly on runs and stuff. So at the beginning, watch the fingering, it's pretty good. They've got staccatos in them. Okay, that's fine. The pedal's going to cover it up, but we'll talk about the pedal in a little bit. But go ahead and bum, bum, bum. It's a wrist thing. Now, if you've got big hands, you can't be doing that. You got to adjust the fingering for you. Whether I say it or not, you have to here. Otherwise, go ahead and put your hand up in here and hope for the best. Second line, second measure, F sharp, B, D sharp. And then it's an E, a B, and a D. And then next line, everything goes down a half step. These are all black keys, so this is fine here. Here, next measure here, kind of going down. I don't really have a lot to say on this, just follow their fingering. It's fine as far as I can tell it until you get down to the last line on page 13. I would prefer here in the right hand, I would prefer a 2/4. I want to connect this melody. 5, 4, 3. I'm going to play it legato, so, and then 1, 3, and then use thumb again, that's fine. I want to connect the melody. And then 4, and the thumb's playing the others, that's fine. Here. I do a 1, 2. That's the fingering I suggest. There's nothing wrong with the fingering they've got, I just like to connect the melody a little better. Speed-wise, well, a gentle piece. This is, you hear recordings of this. This is one of the pieces where I get a copyright thing. Oh, somebody's got this, and okay, fine, I don't care. It's just. So we're filling this in a slow 4. 1, 2, 3. That's what the dotted quarter note is. It's just a slow 4, and metronome marking they give you and all that. Slow 4 is good. Now the pedal, well, we better talk about the pedal. We'd like to add some color to this. It's nice, but you have to be careful with the pedal. You see, we got 1 note in the right hand. A simple melody, no big deal. And we got all this stuff going on in the left hand. 3 notes. It's easy to drown out the right hand. Wow. You got to make an effort to keep that left hand really super duper soft. The MP at the beginning, the dynamic, that goes to the melody. It's close to the bottom staff only because the words are in the way. It goes to the melody, which is the right hand. That left hand has got to be very soft throughout, and there's 3 notes, and that's hard to do. All the time I'm doing that, I want to hear that. really careful. It's really small motions in the left hand to keep that very soft. And then when we add the pedal to it, that's going to fill it out more. So you got to play the left hand even softer if you can. And it's overlapping pedal. Notes first and then the pedal. Well, right off. Now we're building the overtones. Now we're getting excited. No, we don't want that. We don't. This is what it would sound like if I just pedal it here. That's way too much. We want a simple song, and this is overdoing it. This is like huge overdoing it. So I'm going to suggest a technique for pedaling that we use sometimes. And if you have an electronic keyboard, you have to experiment. Some will do it and some will not. And the idea is we do what's known as a half pedal or a quarter pedal. And that is where I'm only pushing the pedal down a little bit. I just want to raise it off the strings slightly, not all the way. Because this way I get, they ring, but they don't ring at the same time. So it's cut cymbal. If I push it down all the way, it just rings. I don't want the ringing. I want to cut it off. So I'm using, you have to experiment, and it's different for different pedals. You have to experiment with the pedal you've got. Sometimes when I go to play a new piano I have never played, one of the first things I'll do is I'll experiment with the pedal. How far down do I have to push the pedal in order to get the dampers to get slightly, a little bit, and you can't really see it very well on my dampers, but so you experiment with that. So that. You get the idea, I hope. Now when you get over to page 13, second line, now you can go ahead and just pedal it regular. However, I don't want a lot of mushiness. So this is the second line here. But when I get to here, I don't pedal. I don't pedal that first one. Until I get that, I lift it up. And I lift the pedal at the end of that second line with the right hand so I hear the phrase. And the fourth line down, back to half pedaling again. Last line is full pedaling. And don't pedal those last two notes. When you go back to the sign, which is at the top of page 12. So forth, that's what I suggest. Now, a tricky part here is the last line on page 13. I want to hear the melody. Top note in the right, can you bring that out? So far it's a beautiful piece. My problem I have with this piece is I speed it up. I don't want to do that. You got to try and keep this slow. This is a very gentle piece. And the fine, in case you're looking for it, is at toward the end of the first line on page 13. They should have a thin and thick bar line there. They don't, because they can split that measure up, because that last note is a pickup to the next section. And they didn't, but okay, that's where you end, is what I'm getting at. Now, whether you take the first or second or the first inning again after you do the DS, I leave that up to you. Some people are going to take it, some people are not. People don't agree on whether it should be taken. A lot of times it depends on the printing. They saving space in the music, so they put it in just to save space. Other times they really don't want you to take it. So whether you take it or not, that's up to you.